all those projectiles, drones, and missiles that were coming from Pakistan. Now, at the same time, there has been an escalation in the artillery fire at the line of control and the international border, which is what is forcing people to move to safer places. People living right at the line of control and the international border are now being evacuated and moved to safer zones because Pakistan is using long range mortars, artillery, and firing at civilian positions. In Poonch, there have been major casualties. Even tonight, one casualty in Poonch and another casualty in the Uri sector. Till last night, there were 16 civilians who were killed by Pakistani shelling. So, what is happening here? Uh, we are in we are at a place where we seem to be completely engaged with Pakistan. The way that Pakistan uh, has been targeting civilian areas, Indian cities. Of course, India had to respond. To speak more on this, I'm joined by Shashikant, who is a former DGP of Punjab. Welcome to Mojo Story. Shashikant ji, what is your sense that uh, India has been saying that it conducted precision strikes inside Pakistan and took down terrorists? It did not hit Pakistani military installations or civilian areas. But the response from Pakistan is totally different because there are no terror camps in India. So they are targeting civilian positions. And also, we saw now clearly targeting an airport in Jammu, and a drone flew over the Northern Army headquarters in Adampur. What is the sense that you are getting?
Well, the sense I'm getting is that Pakistan wants us to react appropriately in a conscious manner and respond in the same way. Till now, India has been very cautious that they have been not targeting their military installations, etc., etc. They're just targeting their terrorist camps where these persons are trained and all those things. Instead, Pakistan is targeting our civilians, our cities. You know, I'm in Chandigarh. There have been lots of these things going on in Chandigarh and now to Punjab also because I belong to Punjab now. So it's been going all over. Lots of persons had come to me this morning. They said in Amritsar there was massive shelling on the civilian areas. This is just not acceptable. Yes, Indian Army is doing great, and I'm sure I've got no doubts about them. But here I say one thing: that somehow the other, the efforts of the armed forces have to be appropriately covered or joined by some diplomatic efforts also. I personally feel this is about the time that India needs to recognize Baluchistan. These Pakistanis are they've been creating trouble in Baluchistan also. The same kind of massacre is going on there. Until now, India has been showing this restraint and not talking about Baluchistan. But if Pakistan has come to such a low this kind of thing that they have been hitting our civilian population, so okay, our army is great. They're doing wonderful. But along with, I think I'll think that the appeal to the foreign ministry, my good old friend Jay Shankar and the prime minister, etc. Everybody, that's about the time for a diplomatic listing. Also, we have to take Pakistan right in their own way and give them this and treat them the same way which they have been treating us, or by way of hitting us unnecessarily, our civilians. Okay, हो रहा है तो एक बार हो जाए. Let's finish it off once and for all. Let them
Right. You
trouble.
raised an important point about Balochistan, about recognition of Balochistan. Just the time when Pakistani drones and rockets were flying in the Indian sky, they're targeting civilian positions and also the airport and other important installations. The same time, there were multiple attacks in Balochistan. Pakistani army is engaged uh, in a battle with the rebels in Balochistan, and that's going on for some time now. And one of the theories is that probably Pakistani army trying to divert its attention from its internal problems, and that's precisely the reason we saw a Pahalgam happening and an escalation after that.
You're absolutely right. It invariably happens whenever these guys want to divert the attention of the population from their failures to some other burning point. So they try to do this thing. Okay, open another front. If you start talking about it's certainly it's we're anxious about whatever Pakistan is doing. The same thing about Balochistan. Why not Baluchis? And Baluchis actually they are not rebels; they are freedom fighters. And I think recently I was reading that one of the leaders have declared that Balochistan is now an independent nation. He has said it. Of course, it was just a statement. I think it's
Yes, one
about
of the
time.
Pakistani leaders, Maulana Fazlur Rahman, in
Yes,
the Pakistani National Assembly said that most of the districts in Balochistan are not in the control of the state.
yes. It's about the same thing. Already, General Manik Shah had done it in Bangladesh. It's about the time that our present generals and present government do the same thing in Balochistan. Pakistan has to be taught this lesson once and for all, times to come.
Right. On the screen that you can see are the visuals from Jammu. Now, this is the time when that Jammu airport was under attack from Pakistani drones and Pakistani rockets. Now, this airport is at Satwari, which is on the outskirts of Jammu. There are a lot of residential houses around, and these are all user generated videos that caused a lot of panic. But Indian air defense system was strong to rather block all those rockets and drones and to shoot them down. But nevertheless, it created a sense of panic on the ground, and you can see from those visuals that what was the situation in Jammu last night. Shashikant ji, in the day, Pakistan made those claims that Indian drones were in their skies, and afterwards, India also acknowledged that one of the air defense system in Lahore radar system was shot down. But Pakistan really targeting the civilian areas, and particularly if you talk about this airport, it is right in the center of a civilian
Yes.
population. Does it give an indication of a desperation or frustration from Pakistan?
Yes, they're absolutely desperate. That's what they're trying to do, all these things. If you talk of the International Code of Conduct, with the treaties which have been there, that clearly says that even this, when this kind of situation, they talk about the war situation. As on date, we have not gone in for a war with Pakistan. It is just the hostilities which are going on. They say the convention say that whenever there is a war, even they should not target civilian areas. Pakistan is doing, and I'm surprised that why international media is silent about it. There are blatant breach of international treaties and conventions and covenants by Pakistan. It's about time. We also need to take these issues in the United Nations and with our friendly nations. I know that Jaishankar has been doing it. He's been talking to his person. It's about time that we need to give it a good boost to expose Pakistan. And again, as far as Pakistan is concerned, I'm sure everybody has heard about Goebbels, that Nazi German leader who was a master manipulator and used to spin one story
Actually,
or the other
he had a
in America.
ministry of propaganda. In Hitler's time,
Exactly,
there was a
precisely.
ministry of propaganda, and he said that
Yes,
once you repeat a lie 1,000 times, it becomes a truth.
yes,
That's the Goebbels philosophy,
yes,
uh,
yes,
and the master of propaganda.
yes,
But the fact is that you spoke about the international community. We've been seeing statements coming from the U.S. President Trump said. First, he said that this is a war going on for 1,000 years, then 1,500 years, then he said for a century, then he said something like a tit for tat. Then there is statement coming from J.D. Vance, the vice president, who has said that it is not America's war. So we're seeing a different sort of an approach from America this time. If we can have that soundbite up before we discuss further.
Until we decide that we ultimately can't make any more progress.
And then you would walk away.
We would.
All right. You were in India recently, and there was some feeling that that might lead to one of the trade agreements announced. And we just heard the UK agreement with the United States.
Sure.
How concerned is the administration about the potential for nuclear war between India and Pakistan?
Well, look, we're concerned about any time nuclear powers collide and have a major conflict. What we've said, what Secretary Rubio said, and certainly the president has said, is we want this thing to de-escalate as quickly as possible. We can't control these countries, though. Fundamentally, India has its gripes with Pakistan. Pakistan has responded to India. What we can do is try to encourage these folks to de-escalate a little bit, but we're not going to get involved in the middle of war that's fundamentally none of our business and has nothing to do with America's ability to control it. You know, America can't tell the Indians to lay down their arms. We can't tell the Pakistanis to lay down their arms. And so we're going to continue to pursue this thing through diplomatic channels. Our hope and our expectation is that this is not going to spiral into a broader regional war or, God forbid, a nuclear conflict. But sure, we're worried about these things. But I think the job of diplomacy, but also the job of cooler heads in India and Pakistan, is to make sure this doesn't become a nuclear war. If it happened, of course, it would be disastrous. Right now, we don't think that's going to happen.
All right, let's talk about the U.S. economy, as some of your colleagues are heading to Switzerland to try to work a deal with China.
Right. None of our business. Shashikanji, it is purely a Trump style of working, very transactional, and the way that he's saying that none of our business. It is not our war. We cannot ask them to lay down their arms. We cannot ask them to surrender. We hope that. How do you see this international response, American response?
As far as the American response is concerned, my humble suggestion to these two gentlemen, Trump and Vance, will be that they should at least sit together and decide and consult each other and decide what they have to say. They have been making different statements, different kind of statements at different times. Look at whatever Trump has been saying. There's been different kind of statements. You also talked about it a while ago, that sometimes he says something, the other times he says something, Vance says something. It has been happening for a long time. Both of them don't speak the same tune. They don't sing the same music. I think it's about time that they need to sit together and talk about the situation, international situation, how it's going to affect us and how it will affect America's relations with China. If it doesn't do it, and you know that China and Turkey, they are on that side, and they're trying to help them, and they will keep on trying to them. Certainly, when you talk about China and Indian-Pakistan war, certainly has a direct bearing on whatever China is going to do. So in this light, I think my personal view is that President Trump and voters and Vice President Vance, they need to sit together and trash these issues between themselves, and then speak and then sing the same music, same kind of voice. It doesn't help in diplomacy that you say one thing at one point of time and the second diametrically opposite thing at the other point of time. It doesn't happen in diplomacy, sir.
Now, you raise the China factor, which is very significant because India had an engagement with China not so long ago at Kalwan in Ladakh, and obviously there is a history to that. And we see that most of the weapons that are being used by Pakistan are actually supplied by China, be it J7, JF-17 Thunder or J-10 fighter jets. How do you see China's role here? They did issue a statement that it is regrettable at the outset, but afterwards nothing. In fact, they issued a statement in support of Pakistan and its sovereignty. Do you think China is actually pulling the strings from behind? Why I'm asking this, because everybody says Pakistan does not have the gumption. They don't have the wherewithal to carry on to fight a war because their economy is down. But then they are doing all of this. They are hitting at Indian cities and inviting a response. How do you factor in China in all of this?
As far as China is concerned, I'm sure this thing, because I have dealt with several things when I was at certain places, certain postings, that here's the one thing. Whatever China is saying right now, it shows that they're trying to show restraint, exercise restraint. But on the other hand, what happens, very often the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And these things go on. The backdoor channels, they always remain open. They keep on, and they have a good corridor. They have got roads. Maybe the planes are not coming in, but I'm sure that they've got massive equipment on the Pakistan border. They've got this camps all along Pakistan border. I won't be surprised if they're conniving and they are sending things in one way or the other. Like I said, that in diplomacy, international relations, this kind of things, they say one thing. Look at the two wars which were there, First World War and Second World War. Most of the countries to start with, they were saying one thing and doing the same diametrically opposite thing. So I don't know. I don't have facts, but I won't be surprised if it comes out that China says, okay, restraint is regrettable. Please can talk to each other. But at the same point of time, just to escalate the trouble in an indirect way, they might be pumping in things. I don't know. Only time will tell these things.
Meanwhile, Vikram Duraiswamy has done an interview with Yalda Hakim of the Sky News, and in that, in fact, he's shown the proof of the terrorists in Pakistan and said that look who's behind him, Pakistani military. One of the terrorists. Look at the coffin there. They have the Pakistani national flag. They were draped in the
Yes.
national flag of Pakistan. So if you're giving terrorist state funerals, what does that make uh, of your system? So let's actually play that soundbite.
High Commissioner, I just have a minute left, but I've spoken to a retired general who in Pakistan who referenced India funding and backing the Baluch Liberation Army. They've said that they have done that for years. And when I asked him about Masood Azhar, he said, well, their family members were targeted. Should we be doing the same to, the high-level militants from the BLA, the Baluch Liberation Army, that are seen and operate within Delhi?
Well, look, let me show you this photograph of yesterday, I believe it is, to your viewers. This person here is a sanctioned terrorist under the American sanctions regime. His name is Hafiz Abdur Rauf. He's the brother of the founder of the terrorist groups that you're mentioning. Look who's behind him, Pakistani military. Look at the coffins there. They have the Pakistani national flag. If you're going to be giving terrorists state funerals, what does that make of your system? And everybody knows that for the last 30 years, Pakistan has used this as a means of subcritical warfare against India. If the international community really wants to be able to look at this and worry about it, the simple solution is to tell Pakistan it has an opportunity for an off-ramp. These are things that the world should have compelled Pakistan to do 30 years ago, and to compel them to implement their promises about taking down this infrastructure. It has not done so.
We can't verify these images ourselves, and this is part of one of the problems, High Commissioner, that both sides, there's a lot of information coming out, but independent journalists, foreign journalists are not being given access. The Pakistanis have said, to me, you're free to come to the sites that have been targeted, and we can take you to the line of control as well with the military to show you what's been hit and targeted. And in the same way, the information that we find that we're getting out of, and this image that you've shown was shown at a press conference that the military in Delhi put out as well. But that is part of the problem here as well, isn't it, High Commissioner? I mean, there is an information warfare that's taking place, and independent journalists can't seem to get access to either side.
Well, look, it is a fluid situation out there. I don't know how helpful it would be to have independent journalists or any kind of journalists wandering around in an area where there is active military operations happening. The logical solution would be, as we've said repeatedly, for Pakistan to take the opportunity of an off-ramp, which we have made abundantly clear, including this morning, that if Pakistan stops attacking our military facilities, the matter ends there. But it is for them to decide.
Right. Important statement. It's an opportunity for Pakistan to go off ramp. If it stops here, then India will also stop, because India has been saying that its objectives have been met. But the thing is that if Pakistan escalates, then India will have no other choice but to respond.
Yeah, you're right. And talking about the picture which was shown out there, frankly, I would like to have, if we could, the reaction of the American authorities, of the President Trump and the Vice President Vance, what they have to say about it. They have been, this particular person who is there, he is a known terrorist and declared as such by the American authorities. It's about time that they have to see this picture and react. And the second point is, we, India, have been going about it in a very careful, balanced manner. If Pakistan does something more than whatever they are doing, we have to. We have no choice but to react appropriately, with reason, with a cool mind, and to say that we are not accused. We will not. I'm sure we are not going to go beyond our whatever we have to do. Because we have been very reasonable till now. The entire world knows about it. So yes, we'll have to pay them back in the same point. But again, I'm sure, and all of us know that India will not be the first party to do about it. It's Pakistan who has been talking about nuclear warfare. If they try to do it, do you think that small little Pakistan will be there? The entire area will be finished in no time. So it's about time Pakistan learns this thing, that they have to God has given them a tongue and a mind. They have to use it in a very careful manner and not talk too much unnecessarily. Yes, what I'll say that India, whatever is doing is perfectly all right. Whatever Pakistan is doing, we are just responding in an appropriate manner, which is not excessive in any way.
Right. And some would say that Pakistan would need a face saver, and perhaps they had that face saver uh, when India launched Operation Sindoor. Pakistan went to the town saying that they also retaliated at that point in time, and some thought that it would end there only. But then we're seeing escalation going on a different level. When you see these visuals of an airport under attack, uh, cities and towns uh, under drone and rocket attack, clearly they have not taken that option. It is very clear. Uh, and they have left it open for any response. They've gone up the escalation ladder, basically.
I'm sure you must have read the statement by Veer Singhvi. He had said that probably Pakistan will do something as a face-saving device, and then say because the international pressure and because of the safety reason, etc., they will say that okay, we give up now. That their face-saving device has worked, and they'll stop doing all those things. But it's really sad, and that's what we all hope that they'll do this thing, just a small little face-saving device, and then try to finish it off once and for all. Why keep on escalating things? If it escalates, I'm sure that Pakistan will be in a great trouble. I said they should
No, then
realize this.
one wonders why are they doing, because everybody says that their army is smaller, their military is smaller, uh, particularly their navy is much weaker, and they don't have the economic backup, to sustain a long war. Uh, these are quite practical reasons for them to stop it here, but they are not stopping. What do you think could be the possible reason? Earlier, I mentioned about China, but that may not be the only reason. There has to be some other reason, because they know that this will invite a response. But then, why are they doing this?
It's clear. My question is, who controls Pakistan really in reality? Pakistan basically they claim is more or less of a theological state, where these guys who are from a particular religion they are calling the shots, and people out there are again listening to them and they are obeying and they think that whatever the theocracy is doing, they are doing absolutely right. And if all of a sudden they stop this thing, I'm sure that the people and these leaders out there, their theocratic state leaders, they are going to put pressure, and the ISI and all those persons who are really supporting, banking upon their support, they are the persons who are being sent to India after being brainwashed, etc., etc. So basically, they're just trying to save their own chair. I don't think there's an international reason or anything. It's just they are succumbing to the pressure of the theological leaders out there who really control that particular state ever since its formation. It was formed on the basis of religion only. That's what they are trying. And they're trying to do
No,
that country.
the fact is also that it is the Pakistani army that's calling the shots. The civil
Precisely.
government is just a rubber stamp there. Uh, it has no say. It is the Pakistani military and the military chief, particularly the army chief, who is the one who is calling the
And the
shots. But
religious leaders.
yes, but in the meantime, the visuals on the screen. I was at the line of control in Uri yesterday. We saw that houses that have been destroyed in Pakistani shelling and artillery fire. These are some visuals from Poonch that were there. Uh, India has been responding. In fact, we army released a video of a Pakistani position that's blasted by the Indian military, and then the BSF also uh, took out a bunker which was giving cover fire to the terrorists. 7 infiltrators have been killed in that. Again, if you can play that video, this is the army video. You can see this released by the army. Here, this is that position that is demolished, and then there is a video that's released by the BSF in which you can see this here. It is on the other side of the international border in Samba, and those are the positions that are giving cover fire to terrorists, and 7 terrorists were killed. This was an infiltration bid that was foiled by the BSF last night. Now, all of this is happening simultaneously on the ground. But we're talking about drone attack, rockets being fired, or missiles or projectiles, or all of those things being fired on the ground. There is also an escalation of a different level. Since the ceasefire, there was only small arm firing that was taking place. But now that small arm doesn't exist because there's artillery fire that's going on.
Yeah, that's right, absolutely. Like you rightly said, the Pakistan is basically controlled by the army. If they want to
Yeah,
save their seats, match their chairs, they have to act in this particular manner just to show
yeah.
to their people that, well, they are, as if they have got great power and they are uh, tackling within course that they're tackling India, which they are not really. They are creating trouble for themselves only. And these two things, as I mentioned, sir, put together the role of the army and the role of the religious leader out there. These are two factors, and they are working with each other. They are hobnobbing, like you saw that particular video picture, which was shown that there was some coffin of some particular terrorist was a senior army officers are there. That shows clearly the link up and the strong, so-called strong bond between the army and these terrorists, which claim that they are acting as per their religion, which is again absolutely wrong. Yes, basically, they are trying to save themselves, and in the meantime, what they are banking on, the wars are fought on the basis of money. It requires lots of money. That's what Pakistan has
No,
been
no,
doing for a long
it
time.
comes back to the same question that it requires money. Pakistan does not have money. It is bankrupt. But then that's not stopping it. But I do understand that Pakistani military is different because they run many businesses like cement, like steel, like poultry, like housing colonies, like all of that. It, maybe we may have to draw a distinction between Pakistan as a country's economy and army, because army, unlike other armies, has a big sort of a interest in the businesses, in the commerce of that country. So they would be having, it is not that the government gives a portion of the fund to the army to run. They generate their own funds through these contracts and through these businesses.
Look, Pakistan has two resources. One, they are number one, these are the legit resources, like you said, that buildings and this and that. But in every war and in each and every covert operation, they are not fought on the basis of the money being generated by the legit businesses. They are always fought on the basis of gun running, drug supply, drug money. It happens internationally. I've studied the international scenario, how these intelligence agencies and armies have been acting, how they've been trying to foment trouble in one area or the other. Is again either the illegal money which is generated out of this gun running or drug things. And Pakistan has abundance of this drug money. You know that the 3-4 thousand worth of crores rupees worth of drug here and there, they have got immense money as far as the drug money is concerned. So that's what they are using it. Like again, I'll tell you, whenever there is a war, even otherwise, each and every country has a fund called army funds, and along with that fund called secret service fund. These funds are part of the national budget and they have to be reflected there. But whether there is any covert operation, whether it is uh, coup or whether it is drug sending terrorists or even war, this other resource, that's drug money and gun running, is being utilized in a big, big way. In fact, all these covert operations are run primarily on the basis of drug money, and these parties have lots of it.
Right. And, as we come to the end of our program, uh, there are many border residents who are now going to safer places, fleeing those villages that are targeted by Pakistan. This firing happening not just at the line of control, 700 kilometers, but the international border also in Jammu, 200 kilometers of international border. And they have no choice but to run away and move to safer places and evacuation centers. That puts a lot of responsibility on the Jammu and Kashmir government. The Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor, they have today the Lieutenant Governor went to Uri to meet with the affected people there. Jammu Kashmir Chief Minister Umar Abdullah went to Jammu because Jammu came under attack last night, and Jammu is closer to the international border, so more people migrate from the border zones to the safer places. They have to make arrangements for them for their stay and for their other needs. That is what they are looking into. That's a huge challenge. But Jammu Kashmir Chief Minister Umar Abdullah has also spoken. Let's hear what he has said.
पुंछ में काफी लोग हमारे मारे गए,
बहुत नुकसान हुआ है पुंछ में,
इंजर्ड भी हुए।
पुंछ शहर में बहुत ज़्यादा नुकसान हुआ है और वहाँ कैजुअलिटीज़ भी सबसे ज़्यादा पुंछ से हुई हैं, इंजरीज भी सबसे ज़्यादा पुंछ से हुई हैं। अभी जहाँ मैं जम्मू अस्पताल में था तो सारे जो ज़ख्मी वहाँ अस्पताल में हैं वो सारे पुंछ से हैं। एक जो बहुत ही ज़्यादा सीरियसली इंजर्ड थे उनको पीजीआई चंडीगढ़ शिफ्ट करके आज सुबह उनकी वहाँ सर्जरी हुई। पुंछ में तो हालात बहुत ही ख़राब है। मेरे डिप्टी सीएम कोशिश कर रहे हैं पुंछ पहुँचने की, अगर वो पहुँच पाए तो वहाँ लोगों से मुलाकात करेंगे।
Right. Poonch is the worst affected region in all of this. And Poonch town, Poonch city has been pounded by Pakistan. And that's the reason that most of the people from Poonch town, it's not just the remote areas of Poonch that are targeted, but Poonch city is also under attack by Pakistan. And that's the worst affected zone where most of these casualties have happened. Already, it's more than 16 people who have died, and most of them are in Poonch. So this is the situation that we don't know. It's a developing situation. What's going to happen next? But clearly, this is not over just yet, and lot depends upon Pakistan and the rationality of Pakistan. If they're rational to bring this to a quick end, but if they don't want to do that, then obviously we're in for a long haul. But situation continues to be bad on the ground, particularly places at the line of control which are targeted by Pakistan. We'll keep a close track of this story, but Shashikanji, thanks so much for joining us today and for sharing your thoughts, and thanks to our viewers for watching about the story.
Thank you, sir.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.